Hello everybody, it's Connie Stewart with SimplySimpleStamping.com. So glad you guys could join me today. I've got a double feature for you today. And what I love about today's card, it's a 2-for-1. When we create one card, it's automatically going to set us up to create the second card. Do you like that? I like the idea of maybe making my Christmas cards double time this year. Anybody else? These were really simple to make, and we're going to be featuring the Tidings All Around bundle. I'm really excited to share how to create our 2-for-1 card, so let's get started. All right, let's go over the supplies you need to create our 2-for-1 card. So my cardstock today is in Cherry Cobbler and Garden Green. These are both cut 4 1/4 by 11 inches and scored at 5 1/2 inches. You're going to need 4 pieces of very vanilla cardstock, 4 inches by 5 1/4. 2 more pieces of very vanilla, and these are 1 inch by 4 1/4. I love the look of a little designer series paper on a card. This is our 12 Tidings, and what I love about this is it is double-sided. So you see, I really just needed 1 strip. So it's Garden Green on one side, Cherry Cobbler on another. We're going to use 1 Cherry Cobbler, 1 Garden Green. But I love that we have plenty of designer series paper so we can make lots of 2-for-1 cards. We're also going to need 2 ribbon knots. This is our gold metallic edge ribbon. Just 2 little knots. It's going to polish off our card very sweetly. The star of the show today is the Tidings All Around stamp set and bundle. It comes as a bundle, so you can order just the stamp set or just the dies, but when you order together, you do save 10%, and we love to save money, right? Well, let's talk about this die set. So the die here, you can see, goes with the wreath, but we're going to be featuring this die today. And this one is a detailed die. You're going to love, this is where we're going to get our 2-for-1. Let me show you what we're going to do with this little beauty. We're going to be die cutting this detailed wreath from both the Garden Green and the Cherry Cobbler. So what I want to do is take this to my die cutting machine. And you see I want to kind of center it up here, up at the top on the 3 sides, leaving me room down here. We're going to do that exact same thing from the Garden Green. All right, there we go. I've got both of those cut. Let me set these off to the side, and we're going to now work on the inside. So we'll take 2 of our very vanilla pieces, and I am simply going to adhere those right over that wreath. To do that, I've just placed some snail right there on the ends. So make sure you don't go in the middle at all, because we don't want any of that adhesive right in here. Let me repeat that with my Garden Green. All right, those have both been die cut. We're now going to take the opposite wreath and we're going to adhere it right into the opposite side. And I've got a great trick to share with you how to do that. Now, before I get started, I need to know where this is going to go. Now, luckily, the die is pretty easy to work with. But we do just kind of want to rotate it around until we find the right fit. Yeah, I did have to rotate it around a few times until I found the right fit. So when I have that, it's just going to help me, because when I have glue on this, that is not the time I want to try to be futzing. So what I've got here is I have a Stampin' sponge, and I keep it in a little airtight container. And what I'm going to do is take some of my multi-purpose glue, just a little bit. It's not going to take a lot. I'm going to take my wreath, I'm going to flip it over. Now I know exactly how that's going to go back onto my card, so I don't want this to move. I'm going to put my glue on that sponge, and I'm just going to tap it all the way around my wreath. I can now pick up my wreath, and we're just going to lay it right on top of that very vanilla, and then I'm just going to, when I get it all set, when I'm really good and happy, I'll give it a nice press into place. You can see I can just kind of come along with each little piece. It actually is going to go together. There we go. It goes together very quickly. But do you see? Look at that. So nice. Now let's repeat that with our Garden Green and our red wreath. All right, I have both of those adhered. I take my little sponge back in its happy little airtight home it goes. This little bit of glue, I can either dry it and rub it right off, or you can just run it under some cool water. All right, now we're gonna do our stamping. Let's start with our garden green, and I'm going to stamp "'Tis the Season" right inside my wreath. I'm now going to come in with those remaining 2 pieces of Very Vanilla. And we have a great little, just kind of a leafy image here. I'm gonna stamp it here on the left side on both Very Vanilla. Now with my Cherry Cobbler ink pad, we're going to stamp "Tidings of Comfort and Joy." Now this is one of my favorite things about stamping. If you have a lot to say, you're gonna stamp "Tidings of Comfort and Joy" up at the top. If you're like me and you struggle with what to say, you want to keep it simple, bring your sentiment down. It leaves less room to write. I've cleaned my stamp, my "'Tis the Season," and now we're going to stamp "'Tis the Season" in Cherry Cobbler in the middle of this wreath. We're now ready to adhere our sentiments to the inside of the card. So we had our strips of vanilla and our strips of the designer paper. We're going to put a Cherry Cobbler in the center of one of our strips and the garden green on the remaining strip. We'll add our snail adhesive to the back. I'm going to take the Cherry Cobbler and we're going to put that on the garden green card and the garden green on my Cherry Cobbler card. And I'm going to use my mini glue dots and press those little ribbon knots onto a glue dot. Now let's add those to the top of our wreath, because every wreath needs a bow, right? But I like to keep these simple for mailing, so I like to use ribbon knots instead of bows. How about rhinestones and pearls? I'm going to bring in my red rhinestones here on my green wreath, because I love adding bling to a card. I think just taking cards up this little extra, just an extra step, makes such a difference. So I'm going to add 5 rhinestones here to the green wreath. And now some of our pretty little adhesive back pearls onto our red wreath. Wouldn't you agree? Just a little bling. We've got that little bit of gold metallic in the ribbons. We've got some pretty little designer paper. Look at the pretty insides of our cards. And guys, yes, we did it 2 for 1. Simple, 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 right? Very fabulous cards. Loved it. I love that little bit of designer series paper at the bottom. And guys, I can't tell you how much I love this bundle. But you know what? There's something else I want to share with you about this bundle. A couple days ago, I shared a video where I created these 2 cards using that same Tidings All Around bundle. But what I love about this one is there's an additional stamp set that you can get that will go with the dies. Gotta love that, right? Kind of stretches our crafting budget a little bit. Now there's a link up there in the corner where you can see the video on these cards. So be sure to check that one out if you missed it. Now, if you want to see more details about my cards today, here's what you can do. Head over to simplysimplestamping.com. Look for the November 2nd, 2019 blog post. I'll have all the details about my cards right there for you. The measurements, photographs, everything that you need. And if you're ready to order any of the supplies needed to create the cards, it's so easy. Click and pick. It'll take you right to my online store and you can order what you need. Thank you guys so much for stopping by today. Hey, if you loved today's video, I would love a thumbs up on YouTube. Thank you so much for doing that. And if you haven't subscribed, it's a wonderful day to become a subscriber. Click that great big red subscribe button up in the corner and YouTube will give you a notification whenever I'm back with a new video. Guys, have a fantastic day. Get to crafting something amazing and we'll see you on the next video. Bye-bye.